Hello, and welcome to a new episode of Ramblings from Two Meddling Kids. I'm Edward Hunt, joined by my fellow stuntman,
Mike Cunningham.
and we are the Meddling Kids, and we like to review movies. Today, we'll be reviewing The Fall Guy. For those of you joining us for the first time, welcome. Good to have you here. For those of you who've come back, hey, good to see you again. But don't worry, we won't spoil The Fall Guy, and let's call it the first 5-10 minutes. We know it's been out for a couple weeks now, but hey, it's still in theaters, so if you haven't seen it, listen to this and maybe you'll decide if you should go. But we'll give you a spoiler-free review from 0 to 5, followed by some background on the movie, and then finish it up with a little bit of a play-by-play, taking the movie from start to finish. Mike, The Fall Guy, are you ready?
Yes, I am.
All right, 0 to 5, what'd you get it?
I gave it a 3. I think this movie was like a lot of fun,
Mm-hmm.
and I think that really is credited to the two leads and Ryan Gosling and Emily Blunt. Like they have such great chemistry, such great comedic timing. I mean, Ryan Gosling is just fucking charming. I think that's not something that you can really downplay in any of his performances.
Yeah.
So I think it was just a lot of fun. It was also really nice to get a peek behind the scenes when it comes to filmmaking. Obviously, we talk about movies all the time, but we're just audience members, right? So it's just like it's nice to get that peek behind the curtain to see kind of how films are made and really the work that goes into it. Obviously, we know that there's a lot of work that goes into it, but we just see the final product. So it's kind of interesting getting that peek behind the curtain. And so I thought that was really cool. Like I said, the chemistry between the two leads is really great. I think all the performances were really fine. It was really like visually stunning. Like a lot of the action work was great, and I think that's because of the fact that it was made by a former stuntman. So like just like the guy who did John Wick. Also, I think this guy worked on John Wick as well. Yeah, the guy who directed all the John Wick movies, like in the same way he's a stuntman, so he leans into those action scenes, that fight choreography, excuse me, and all that. So it's like there was such a dedication to that in this film, where it's just like all the stunts were like really like visceral, like really interesting. Like it was just really action packed. I really enjoyed that. I think my only, and I still question why I didn't do as well as I thought, or as well as projected. I think it was like it kind of leaned too much into the meta-ness of it all at times, right? Like there was a cool split screen scene that was like cool, but I think it leaned heavy into like it's a movie about movies, right? So like what's real, what's not type of thing. And then I think it really couldn't pick what story or what genre of movie it wanted to be at times, right? There was like a love story. There was like this who done it type of thing, like, but it couldn't like. It seemed like it was like kind of all over the place as far as like what type of movie it wanted to be, what story it wanted to tell. But those are honestly just minor gripes. I had a lot of fun with this. The runtime wasn't too crazy. Obviously, like there's nitpick things I can point at in the plot and all that, but it was like for the most part, it was just a fun movie about how movies get made, right? And I just really enjoyed it. So 3 for me, like not a terrible film, but I definitely something I wish people would see in the theater. These are like those blockbusters that you would hope got a lot of attention from audiences, so like more movies like this would get made. So yeah, 3 for me. A lot of fun.
Cool. Awesome. Thank you, Mike. Yeah, I mean, I'm giving this a 3 as well, really. My positives with it were, I mean, the action sequences are really good. You could tell they had like really, I mean, considering it's called The Fall Guy and it was about like stuntmen, they had really good stunts. They did. They had like true, like not CGI, physical stunts of everything happening. And it seemed like it was done in like a safe, good environment. So like that was a lot of fun. Yeah, Ryan Gosling, Emily Blunt, they're always going to be great. I like Aaron Taylor Johnson a lot. And of course, I'm blanking on her name, but Ted Lasso.
Yeah, Hannah Waddingham.
Yeah, Hannah Waddingham's always like she's phenomenal. I am so excited. She's got to be in more things after her performance in Ted Lasso, so I'm excited to see her on the big screen even more. But yeah, no, it was like it's a lot of fun from start to finish. Really, where it just kind of falls for me is just the plot and the story, And like I agree, it's like it's about making movies. It's a little crazy and all over the place. It has some good funny moments. It has some good romance. It has some good, decently good action, but it felt like a hodgepodge. I think that's really what it was. It felt kind of like a hodgepodge of all these things where it's like, hey, that's pretty good, that's pretty good, that's pretty good. But it didn't really have like a through line or a way, even though it did, because it told a cohesive story, but yeah, I remember when I watched it, I was like, hey, that was pretty good. That's pretty good, and that's what a 3 out of 5 is. Like, that's a pretty good movie. I think people would enjoy it. I don't think anyone would come away hating that movie. I could understand people coming away not really liking it that much, I suppose. But like at the same time, it's a solid movie where it's going to be fun. There's going to be good stunts. It's going to be Ryan Gosling and Emily Blunt doing their thing, and that's never going to be a bad thing. Yeah, and again, like you see some of like the really fun stunts, like even like all the car, like going around. Even like if there was a chance for them to be over the top with some of these stunts in a good way, they took it, and that
Yeah,
made the movie exciting. But it was like, hey, yeah, that's the thing. Like, it's hard to explain. It's because I don't necessarily have any like major gripes with the movie, as you said. It was just when I walked out of it, I was like, hey, that was
well, I
pretty good.
think that is the plight of a lot of action films. Is usually
Mhm,
it's style over substance. Michael Bay's,
mhm,
even like God damn it, I'm not even going to get into the different directors.
sure.
Style over substance means that usually the stories suffer,
Mhm.
but it's like visually stunning. That's fine. But it was just like, how much is that really engaging you for the most part, right? So that, yeah, that makes sense. Like you said, that you don't know why you didn't why you
Yeah,
didn't like it. You can't articulate it. Like you just know, kind of,
yeah, exactly. Like you just know, like you walked out, like I'd probably watch it again, or I'd
Oh,
put it
definitely.
on. Yeah, like I definitely put it on.
So I saw it twice.
Okay, there you go. Okay, cool. I've only seen once of it, so like I would say, hey, I'd recommend if someone hasn't seen it, I would tell them like, hey, it's a pretty good movie. You should check it out. But that's the best I can do for this movie. So because of that, I'm giving you a 3 out of 5. Cool. Let's get some background on this thing.
Okay, dokie. All right. So the Fall Guy was released on May 3rd, 2024. The runtime is 2 hours and 6 minutes. The budget was about 125 million. As of today, it's made 147 million. So like, I've seen
Good.
a bunch of outlets saying that this is a flop and this is a surprise flop. Obviously, we know how the
Mhm.
metrics works when it comes to how much a movie needs to make based on its production budget. But it's kind of sad because, like I said, it is a really good movie. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? So it's just like it sucks that one of the bigger blockbusters that start the summer off didn't really do well. But I mean, we have other movies. I guess not that many, but I guess you can also equate it to the like not equate it, but like blame it on the fact that like apparently not a lot of people are going to the movies this year, right?
Mhm.
It has kind of waned off for the past few years after the pandemic. But
Yes,
so
just the movie
hopefully we get
recovery.
yeah, we hopefully get more people going to the theaters, but we'll see. Because I feel like this one is already almost in on streaming, possibly.
At
That
this,
also that I
yeah.
know there was another movie that I saw recently. There was like it gave it like 17 days or like in the theater, and then they pulled it, and
Mhm.
it was on streaming. So I think that's also not helping the case with a lot of these movies. I think Challengers was like that. So you're seeing, I think people are seeing if I can see this movie and if it comes out today and it'll be available in 21 days or something like that, what's the rush to go to the theaters? But it was like the rush is the fact that the box office is one metric that a lot of studios determine, what type of movies are made. So that's what I'm
Yeah.
saying. I really do hope that people go see this.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, not to get like, I don't know, not conspiracy. I don't really know the right way to describe it, but like, because you look at it, it's like, why would someone, as you said, see something in theaters potentially if it's just going to be on the streaming platform that they already pay money for every month? Like, why would they spend an additional, let's call it $18 for a movie ticket,
yeah.
like right now? So it's like, why are you going to spend an additional $18 if you see it? And there is something to be said for seeing on the big screen. And like, I love going to the movies.
Yeah.
Hell, you love going to the movies more than I like going to the movies, like, but and yeah, it's just something where how are you really going to balance it out? Because yeah, like you need to give it more, longer runs, or you need to give it like before it comes on streaming, like maybe 3 months. Like maybe that's got to be it. Like they got to delay how long it's going to come and start streaming now, and kind of be like the DVD release when we were kids, right? Remember, you're
Yeah.
like if you didn't see it in theaters, that meant you were not going to see this movie for at least 6 months, right?
Yeah.
And then like now you're the weird kid in the back of class. Everyone's picking on you and calling you names and being like, "Hey, it's all farts in a jar," and only picking your nose back
Yeah,
there. And
we didn't see Shrek 2 when it came out. Now you're regretting it.
exactly, 100%. You're like, now everybody hates me. My prom date broke up with me. It's a whole thing if you don't see a movie back then.
So yeah, on the right now the box office is 147 million on a 125 million dollar budget. So like basically a flop, which sucks. But I mean, also that might say something too, like you said, with the since there was a lot of practical effects in this, I don't think the budget should have been as high,
Mm-hmm.
right? It could have easily been like 80 million, something like that.
Remind
Um,
me, like, so if it's because if the budget was around 125, but it made 140
well,
something.
the metrics are, if let's say it's 100 million, right? Just to make it easier for math.
Yeah.
The In order to break even, it's about 2.5 times the production budget. So
Gotcha.
$100 million movie would need to make 250 million, but that's just to break even. That's not even talking about profit or return on investment yet.
Yeah,
So
fair.
that's the issue. The higher, like we talked about with Disney a bunch last year, with like Indiana Jones and fucking the Marvels and The Little Mermaid and all these other things. The higher budget, the more you need to make just to break even.
Yeah.
And at least with Disney, that so many of their movies weren't even reaching anywhere near the break even point. So it's just like, that's why I think Homeboy came back. I can't remember his name. And he's saying, okay, now we're going to need to start cutting these budgets because of the fact that, like, we had fucking Indiana Jones was 350 million. About 350 million. Little Mermaid was 250, and then we made 500. So it's just like, you're ballooning these budgets for whatever reason, and you're not getting any return on investment. So, like, that's how they lost $1 billion last year in 2023.
Yeah.
Because of the fact that they put out 5 big movies and only one made a profit. Everything else flopped. So it's just like, I think we're seeing, that's how, like, Godzilla -1 was such a big one. It was just a great film, number one, but it cost about 15 million. So it's just like, you look at what it made based on a $15 million budget. So I think that's another thing too, is like looking at these budgets and seeing how it's they're not getting any return on investment. So you need to, I don't know how you recalculate this. Sorry, go ahead.
So what you're saying, Mike, is we need to underpay actors. Is that officially on the record? Michael Cunningham saying the way to fix this.
I mean, the money's going somewhere. I think you don't need caviar for your, for the assistant's dog. I think that's what it is. There's a way to cut the budget.
That's a good point. Yeah, exactly.
So box office 147 million. Rotten Tomatoes, the last time I checked, it was like 82 and 86 for critics and audience. So like I said, I think people really enjoy this. I'm just surprised that didn't reflect in the box office. The genre is action, comedy, drama, directed by David Leitch, who directed or I think he co-directed the first John Wick. And then like Atomic Blonde, Deadpool 2, Hobbs and Shaw, last year, Bullet Train. So like a heavy emphasis on action. He's a former stuntman. Excuse me. The cast is Ryan Gosling as Colt, Emily Blunt as Jody, Aaron Taylor Johnson as Tom, Teresa Palmer as Iggy, Winston Duke as Dan, Stephanie Hsu as Alma, Hannah Waddingham as Gail. And then a bit of trivia, like this is a remake of a 1981 series starring Lee Majors, and I think he makes a cameo in the post-credit scene or something like that later in the film. And then this movie apparently has been in development since like 2010. And like Tom Cruise, Keanu Reeves, Nick Cage, Jason Statham, and The Rock were like at one point rumored to be cast for Colt. So
really, of all of them, though, the only Ryan Gosling's the only one that makes sense. I've literally ever seen one.
Like charisma. I think that's what it is.
Yeah.
I think that's once again, I've never seen the original series, so I couldn't tell you what that character was like.
Fair.
That is fair, but it was just like, I mean, I guess what's his name? Tom Cruise does have his charisma at times, I guess, but it was like, it's just not, Ryan Gosling is a different type of beast when it comes to the charm. So like, yeah, you're right. But it's also, once again, it's hindsight. Like,
yeah, absolutely. I was thinking, like, they would have been very different. Like, not in a bad way. Could you imagine if Nick Cage was Colt in this movie? What kind of chaos? What kind of chaos this movie would have been if Nick
outside of The Rock just didn't fit at all. So I don't know why he was even considered. But like, I feel like Keanu Reeves, Nick Cage, and Jason Statham even Tom Cruise gives it a more serious vibe, right? It wouldn't be a comedy.
Yeah.
So I think Ryan Gosling is able to do both, because you have Drive and then you also have The Nice Guys. Which I think an anniversary, or they're just doing a Ryan Gosling thing at the film club at Alamo. So the Nice Guys showed up last week, and then I think they're doing Drive next week. I forgot how much I really enjoyed the Nice Guys.
Yeah,
really. Really, really fucking funny. Ryan Gosling's a goddamn gem.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, I'm sorry. That's all that talking. That's all the information that I have.
Beautiful. Awesome. Well, thank you, Mike. All right. So before we get into our spoiler section, a quick word from our sponsors. Hey, what's up? I'm Edward Hunt. I am on the Milan badminton team of Compass. We are officially the #1 team in the DMV. That's DC, Maryland, Virginia. A lot of teams say it. We got the sales volume to back it up. Yeah, especially for Compass. Obviously, different teams, blah, blah, blah. But it's so much more than just helping you buy or sell a home or advising you on the market. I'm also a resource for anything you need home related. So say I had some mason bees buzzing around my brick wall the other day. I have connections to bee people. I have handyman, contractors, landscapers, whatever you need, I can connect you with them as well. Same for any kind of lenders. If you need a HELOC, if you want to get pre-approved, anything like that, I can connect you with some phenomenal people who will bust their butt to make sure that you're getting the best you can. Also, I'm Edward Hunt of Hunt Comics. I have Evil as a Weapon issue 1 out at my website, edwardhuntwriting.com. On there, we should have a Kickstarter for issue 2 coming up. I'm just waiting to get one variant cover done, or one more variant cover done, and I'll have a Kickstarter up probably the next couple weeks. So I'm getting that together right now. But yeah, so that's everything from me. Ready to get started, Mike?
I am.
All right, The Fall Guy. It's just a dude falling for 2.5 hours, just screaming. It's psychedelic.
Inception stuff. I get it. Yeah. So it opens with kind of a narration from Colt. He is a Hollywood stuntman for the very famous action star Tom Ryder. So he just like talks about how like this is his dream job, and he also, because of his dream job, he got to meet a dream girl, and that is Emily Blunt's character Jodie. She's like a camera woman with aspirations to direct her own film. And so like they have a cute little moment where like they're on like walkie-talkies. He's been told that he needs to redo a stunt or something like that, because we meet Tom and he's very much like a egotistical asshole. I mean, stunt or whatever. So I'm just like, he doesn't like the fact that you can kind of tell in the stunt after the face swapping or whatever that it's not Tom doing the stunt, but Cole. So he wants him to do it again or whatever. And so while he's on his way up to, it's just I guess a standard fall through a ceiling or some shit like that. But when he's on his way up, he's on the walkie-talkies with Gail, and they kind of, once again, it's like a very cute moment. It was like I said, it's the charm of Ryan Gosling, where he's just like, they're pretending like they don't know one another, even though like they were making out in the trailer right before they got called to do the stunt, and then like he's on the walkie-talkie and they're just talking about their plans for that evening, and they like want to go get margaritas and just sit out on the beach and stuff like that. And it's just like a very sweet moment between them, and it's like also just showing that he just really just loves his job as a stunt person. And then so after he gets set up in the stunt where they're just I guess pulling him out to the like right below this, like I guess the glass ceiling, and he's just going to be dropped about, I want to say like 40 feet, 50 feet or something like that.
Yeah, it's got to be something. I don't know how to do it. But yeah.
But it would just say he's just going to be dropped from about 40 feet. And then that's it. It's a simple stunt. You can see even like I don't think you see him shake at all, but it's just like, it's just standard, right? It's like just things that stunt people do, whether it's getting hit by a car or taking a hit or a fall or something like that. It's just kind of standard.
Yeah.
And so he prepares for the stunt. He kind of lets go. He gives them the cue that they're ready to start. They call action, and you just see him fall. Obviously, he got the different wires. He's wired up and everything like that. And we see him fall, and then the screen goes black, and you just hear somebody scream. And then when the screen comes back on, he's like on a stretcher, and he's got kind of being wheeled out of the building. If something happened, he gives like kind of the thumbs up, which is like kind of the universal sign.
I'm okay.
When some people are, so it's just let them know that everything's okay. We can keep going. And then so we see a little bit more narration where after the stunt, he kind of went away, kind of disappeared. Got out of the business of stunt work, and like after he healed up, had his surgeries, he's like more zen now, and he's
the whole California surfer scene going
on.
And
then, he's working as a valet guy at like a Mexican restaurant or whatever. And so we see him kind of just enjoying life. He enjoying the current life that he has outside of Hollywood. but because he kind of disappeared, he is no longer dating Jodie and has no real ties to that life anymore. And
Mhm.
then randomly one night he gets a call from Gail, who is the producer of, she's like the producer of all of Tom Rider's films. And she says that they need him. He's the only, he's the best stuntman that they ever worked with. And like, he doesn't want to do that anymore. And like, she keeps bringing up the fact that he should be flipping cars, not driving them.
Mhm.
And stuff like that, really trying to get on his good side, really trying to convince him. And he's just kind of pushing back until she tells him that the movie they're working on in Australia is Metalstorm, and it's being directed by Jodie. It's her first film. Like, she finally got
Yeah.
the opportunity to direct. And so like that kind of changes his mind. And then
And she also does say that like Jodie asked for him or something like that.
yes,
Too.
yes,
Straight up
you're
lies.
right. You're right.
Gail's a bad person.
And so after that, we get just a quick scene of like he's at the job, at the valet job, and a guy that he's about to get the car for recognizes him as the stunt guy who fell and fucked up.
He's the
And he's
fall
like,
guy.
yeah.
Yeah.
And they got me still mad because it was just like, I mean, maybe that was the whole point, but it was just like, clearly this dude went through something.
Mhm.
And then like he's the guy's just like talking to the girl he's with, and he's just like, girl, like he said, babe, this guy really he busted his ass. So it was just like, really? And
Yeah.
it was like, maybe that is really how, I think it was maybe showing how actors and like a lot of people on sets, there's definitely a hierarchy to everything, right? And it was just like, some people are very much the bottom of the totem pole. Sorry, the intro of the movie was like narration about what's his name, Colt's life, but also saying how like stunt people are very much like, you don't know they're there, but like in every movie and every scene, every action scene you've ever seen on film or television, it's probably a stunt person,
Yeah.
putting their body, at risk for your entertainment. So it's just like, I think this scene with this guy, whose car he's about to get, is basically showing like he's so comfortable with the fact that this stunt person isn't an actual person, that he
Mhm.
can make light of
Yeah.
something when the man almost died.
A terrible accident for this guy.
Yeah.
And I think that's, it's a commentary on like people seeing famous people in general, especially stuntmen, but all of that. Because you get so many. There was something how even recently, I think it was the whatchamacallit, the Kelsey, the center for the Eagles, or
Yeah.
he's retired. They had this one thing on him recently where it's him and his wife. I heard it on the radio, so I didn't see the video. But basically, this woman, it gets into it, like starts screaming at them because they're like, "Hey, we're in the middle of something. We don't want to stop what we're doing to take a picture with you right now."
Yeah.
And this woman just starts screaming, and you're like, "Man, these people have lives and like
Yeah.
families, and it's clear, like, come on, be better than that." Yeah.
Yeah.
Just
I
take a street selfie. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
like, all right, there you go, and keep it moving. Yeah.
I think social media has really given these people the entitlement that like they understand that they're entitled to these celebrities' time, right?
Yeah.
It's really bad. But so I basically talk shit about Colt's accident, and so he just does donuts and burnouts in his car. Like he just quits his job or whatever. Next thing you know, he's on a flight to Australia. He gets there. And he meets with the stunt coordinator, played by old friend Dan or whatever.
Mhm.
And they have like a nice little banter. Like, what did I call you, boss now? Or
Right.
what did I call you, sir? He's like, well, you can call me boss. Like, whatever. And so like immediately, like Dan just kind of gets him ready for this car roll scene that they're supposed to do. You see a little bit of trepidation from Colt, where he's just like, I think it's played off as laughs, but it was like, as an audience, you definitely know that there is some PTSD in his life because he hasn't done a stunt, and so like he's like testing the sand, saying the sand's kind of loose, and it's funny what just also you get like kind of where he's coming from, but it's just like you see Jodie's like under a lot of pressure, so like she needs the stunt right now, and so he he gets in the car, he does a stunt, or that as they're filming the scene or whatever, he's on a walkie-talkie with both Jodie, the director, and Dan, his like stunt coordinator, like letting him know what he needs to be doing. And then so like the scene's going on, he's following behind Jodie, who's in a truck like filming the scene. And it's supposed to be this epic scene for Comic-Con or something like that, they kept saying. It was like
Oh,
the
well, because that's going to be the one that they can really have, with the car rushing, and that's going to be like
yeah
one of the big,
mhm,
behind the
yeah.
scenes footage things. Yeah.
Mhm. And so he accidentally like breaks the camera behind the car because he's a little. And then I mean, to his credit, he did say, "If I get any closer, I'm gonna hit the
Yeah.
camera." And then so like when he's on cue or whatever, he does the car roll, which apparently broke the Guinness World Record, like the most car rolls on film. I think like eight and a
Really?
half truly was. Like, they mentioned it later in a few scenes later, but it was just like that actually was the Guinness World
Yeah.
Record.
Shit,
But
that's awesome.
it's
Okay.
kind of cool. And
Yeah.
so like he does the stunt, the car is like upside down or whatever, and he like they said they can't move in until the stunt guy, gives the all clear, and he
Mhm.
gives the universal thumbs up. They come, they take him out, and then like Jodie's like complaining about the camera, but she's really excited about the fact that they got the footage they needed, and she goes over to talk to the stunt guy,
Mhm.
and Colt takes off his helmet, and this is the first time that because he'd been asking since he got on set. He was like, "Does Jodie know I'm here or whatever?" He keeps asking about her,
Yeah.
and she
She
finally
did
sees
that.
him. And she finally sees him, and like you said earlier, like, he was under the impression that she had wanted him there.
Mhm.
And then like so she kind of stutters a bit, and then she's like, "Oh, I didn't give the all clear on this. I wanted anybody but him or whatever." And
Mhm.
then like she pulls him to the side, and we get a cute little moment with it where she's just like, she's trying to, I guess, reprimand him for the fact that like he disappeared. She hasn't seen him or whatever, but she's still kind of is still in love with him or
Yeah.
whatever. He's just like he starts complimenting her on the fact like this guarding hat that she's wearing. She's like everybody's wearing them. And then he also mentions he was like, "Well, you look good." He was like, "Well, you look good at anything." He was like, "Well, you look good at nothing." And then he
Yeah.
has to like,
Yeah.
it was like it was interesting because of the fact that there's certain things in comedy or just like where it's something natural. You can't fake it. So it's
Mhm.
like there's a scene in The Nice Guys where he's Russell Crowe comes to Ryan Gosling in the bathroom stall where he's like trying to look cool. He's like literally has his pants down.
Yeah.
And he's trying to like pull a gun on him and smoke a cigarette, and the cigarette drops. And it was just like it's one of the funniest scenes in the film. It's such a physical comedy thing. It was like I don't know how he did it like on cue. Like I
Mhm.
don't know if it was like a one take type of thing, but it was just like certain things with comedy you can't fake. It's just like a
Yeah.
natural thing, and that's what his banter right here, where he's like trying to be respectful, trying to be like, I don't even think trying to be like cute or anything like that, but it's just like that's what it comes off as because he's just naturally like that.
Mhm.
But yeah, so like she kind of scolds him, but she's like, Dan tells her that he has a tent full of amateur stunt guys, and so like there's nobody else that can do what Colt can do because
Yeah.
Colt is very experienced in this. And so like she just kind of relents because of the fact that I think there's so much pressure from the studio and she doesn't, want to go over budget and all this. It is her first film. So it's just like with all that, she's like, fine. I this is why we hired you, talking about Dan, so
Mhm.
because you know what you're talking about. And so they film another scene where like Colt's supposed to be set on fire and like slammed into a rock. So they do it. They do one take. What do you call calls cut, and then she says, she basically just uses this opportunity to get back at Colt for leaving her.
Yes.
So like
Well,
they run it. Yeah, sorry, go
yeah,
ahead.
I was gonna say, and just air out all their dirty
Yeah.
laundry. They're like, man, this is not professional. All right, yeah, this is.
Like, first it's like they run it back again because she said there was a smudge on the screen or something. And even like her assistant, like the camera guy, like all that is just like that was a perfectly fine take. She's like, no, we gotta run it back. So it's just like setting him on fire, slamming him to a boulder.
Yeah,
And then
again.
like he takes
Yeah.
time to, like, do you want to talk about like instead of talk about the scene, the story. And she
Yeah.
just basically mirrors what's happening in the movie. So what happened with them and how there was an alien queen and a cowboy, and the cowboy got hurt and disappeared. And so the alien queen like went to Pilates and got a banging body
Yeah.
against all these other people.
Yeah.
And then
It
like
was good.
she goes, what would the cowboy say to the queen? And Colt just goes, it's on this planet because I haven't read the script. They have private conversations. Look, they talk about.
Do it again.
It was okay. It was very funny. I did love that.
Yeah.
Shit, I forgot. Well, yeah. So they run it. They run it back. She kind of uses her power to like get him to like basically apologize for just ghosting her.
Mhm.
And then after like running the scene back like 7 or 8 times, where he's just getting slammed into a boulder and set on fire. They call cut for the day, and he goes to see Gail because he wants some answers. Because, like you said, he thought that Jody wanted him there, so he was like, Gail, what? If that's not the case, then why am I here, Gail?
Yeah.
And she just basically says that Tom has gone missing, and she needs what's his name, Colt's help to find him because he's a stuntman. Nobody will care. And she basically like guilts him at the fact that like if we don't get Tom back on this film, then the studio is going to pull it, and that'll be the basic career suicide for Jody.
Yep.
And so because of this, Colt is like, all right, fine. So she gives him the code to Tom's apartment to go searching to get answers.
Yes.
And like this is so initially, I think in the trailers or how this movie was marketed, it was very much this story. And I think what the Fall Guy was, it was like basically a stuntman that doubled as a like a bounty hunter or something like that. I believe, right?
Okay.
About ugly, like don't quote me on it. I believe that's what it was, and that's what made it interesting, you know.
Yeah. I mean, in this, he's literally just, I mean, slight spoiler, he's there to take the fall. He's the fall guy. And he fell.
Yeah. And so yeah, he leaves Gail's trailer. He gets a car that actually drives on the left side or whatever. It's in RF2MK.
Yeah.
And he puts the keys in the ignition, turns the car on, like it's on some radio station, like just blasting some Taylor Swift song.
Yeah.
And as he's sitting there listening to the lyrics, he kind of is remembering about his and Jody's relationship before the accident. And it's like you tell her very much in love, or whatever. Like they were playing like they're sitting like in a truck or whatever with a bunch of props. And they play rock paper scissors. He loses, and she just smashes a fake bottle on his head or whatever. And it was like. It was like just a really sweet moment or whatever, and he's like sitting there, tears in his eyes or whatever. And like as he's sitting there listening to the song, Jody comes up, knocks on the window, and asks him, like, "Are you crying?" He was like, "No, I was, he's just making excuses." So she gets in and she kind of talks to him, and after, because he does, I think that during the scene where she kept basically force him to apologize or like explain himself. He does say that the fact that like for the longest time he prepared a speech for her to apologize for what happened, but it was just like he kept getting in his head about it to the point where he felt like he had missed his opportunity, so that's why he never reached out.
Yeah.
And I think that did strike a chord with it because it was like you can understand that. And so like she kind of gets in the car, they talk or whatever. I mean, basically she's very much excited about the movie, even though she's very stressed, and she's just like telling him like, please don't fuck this up or whatever. And so they have a sweet moment where she's like, can you drive into my car? And it's literally 10 feet away.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
And so like he drives to Tom's apartment, kind of sneaks in like through like there's some parkour up the side of the building, and you go to the apartment, you see just a bunch of sticky notes. Like Gail had given him a sticky note with the passcode to his apartment. Colt had mentioned the fact that is he still doing this? And apparently, like Tom just writes a bunch of random shit on a post-it notes, posts them everywhere on his trailer in his apartment. So like, and you see this in the apartment where it's just like a post-it notes everywhere.
Yeah, it's like man's like a crazy serial killer, basically. You know what I mean? You're like doing all that.
And so Colt was in the apartment. He's looking around. He's trying to make coffee because he's just been trying to get coffee this whole time. It's like been a running joke or whatever. And so right as he's about to get his coffee, he gets attacked by Iggy, who is Tom's girlfriend. And he just like avoids getting, because she attacks him with a fucking samurai sword.
Yeah.
And so like he just avoids getting his head chopped off. And then like she stabs the sword into the wall. Colt goes to take it and realizes it's a fucking prop sword, which didn't make sense. Once again, nitpicking because of the fact that it was slicey through shit.
I get, yeah, fair. Yeah.
It's a prop. It was a prop when it needed to be. It was just like, a lot of convenience. But yeah, so he talks to her, tells her that he's just there looking for Tom, and so she says she hasn't seen him, but he usually hangs out at his club, and she says he can't get in the way he's dressed because of the fact, but since he's his stuntman, he looks like Tom for the most part, which I thought was really cool. He very much looked like fucking Aaron Taylor Johnson.
Especially when he had like a hat on and everything too. Yeah, definitely.
It was a really good casting with that. But yeah, so she gives him some clothes to basically get into the club, pretending to be Tom, so he can talk to Tom's dealer to get more information. And so we see Colt go to the club or whatever, meets with the dealer. I can't remember his name. It was Dink.
No, I have no idea.
The dealer,
Old drug dealer McGee.
Bingo. That's what
I think that was it. Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, so Dune is his name. Sorry.
Okay.
But yeah, so he meets Dune or whatever, and like he's just saying, I'm Tom StuntMan, I'm looking for him. And as he's trying to get information, Dune gives him one of Dune's henchmen gives Colt a drink. He takes it, and this is another moment, like it's a moment in the film being meta or whatever, where he says, "You're a stuntman. Do stuntmen get award for that?" Yeah. And Ryan Gosling says no. And during the Oscars this year, I think he and Emily Blunt were performing. Sorry for presenting. They presented an award about stuntman because I think stunts is going to get a category in next year's Oscars.
Yeah.
So it was a little nod in the film that they mentioned. And so he takes the guy says to the stuntman or whatever. So he takes the drink that he was given, just a Shirley Temple. But he immediately, like, whatever was, it was a spike drink. So whatever is like,
yeah. I see a fun one. Whatever it was, it seemed fun. All right. So, yeah.
And then, like, kind of Dude lets it out of the bag that whoever wanted them to kind of keep Colt there. And so even though he's a little bit high, he's able to like fight off the henchman, and it's like in a slow motion, like it's really trippy, like a LSD trip type of
thing. It was funny, especially because they're all wearing like neon bright colors and stuff too while it's going down. So there's like little like half images on the screen. It was a cool fight for sure of what was going down here.
Yeah. And so Dune escapes, what's the name? Colt gives chase. And then we get once again another stunt scene where like Dune gets into like a taxi. So Colt cuts in front of it. You know, if you're chasing a car, you just run diagonal and like you'll be there. That's just movie science.
Yeah, math. Yeah.
I think we saw it in Mrs. Smith. It was just like, if you just run diagonal to a car, you're gonna catch it.
That's basic Pythagorean theorem. All right, here. Nope, you go here. That's all you gotta do. Right?
Indeed, yes.
A squared B squared equals C squared every time.
Yeah. Right? And so, and it was funny because he was like, the guy said he's talking to like a unicorn. No, he's talking to himself because he's high.
Yeah.
And so he puts in, apparently he carries in like a mouth guard. And he just jumps from the taxi. The taxi stops, and he's able to further interrogate Dune. And he's like, "Where is Tom? Like, what the fuck is going on?" And he was just like, "Just go to the hotel and ask for this guy, and tell him that you want a fruit platter or something like that."
Yeah, fruit plate.
And he'll give you the keys. Yeah, fruit plate into the room. And then he asks him, "Was like, how long does this shit last?" Whatever. And Dune just goes, "When you stop seeing the unicorn, you'll be good." And then like Colt looks into his right. And there's a unicorn, and he was like, "Shit!"
It's like, it's gonna be a little while.
And so he goes to the hotel. He asks the receptionist, or like the concierge, I guess, for the fruit platter. Well, he asked for Kevin and the fruit platter, and Kevin wasn't there. So he was like, "Wait, can you help me or whatever?" And so, like, as he's talking, we see Jody walk behind him, or whatever. He's like, "What are you doing here?" Like, because he's clearly not staying in that hotel. Excuse me. And he had like a little flirting moment with her, and she was like, "What the fuck is going on?" Before he can kind of answer anything, Gail comes up and takes Jody away because apparently we saw this. It was like the Act 3 hasn't been written yet or something like that of the film.
Yeah, they need to like finish it and finalize it.
Yeah, they need to finalize it. So like, and because of the fact that the studio is really, like Gail said earlier, if they don't get this movie done and if they keep going over budget, they're just gonna scrap the films. Gail takes Jody away so that she can't continue talking to Colt, who's clearly still high. And then after they leave, Kevin comes back, he asks for the fruit platter or whatever, gives him the key. He goes up to the room, the key doesn't work. Goes back downstairs. First Beta gets another key from Kevin. That one doesn't work either.
Yeah.
And now I'm curious.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that was on purpose?
That the key doesn't work?
For later? I didn't think
Well,
about it just now, and Liz on
yeah.
that.
I mean, no, because they wanted him in there, at least to be they needed him to be leaving the hotel room so they could get that footage of him.
But I think maybe the him breaking in or whatever gives
Maybe.
it's a little bit
Well,
different.
no, because like him breaking in there didn't matter as much because they couldn't find anything in there, right? That was like,
Okay.
yeah,
I guess you're right about the footage, but I was curious as to why the key didn't work.
yeah,
Because initially I thought that he was just going to the wrong room.
yeah. Like he was
Yeah,
high as shit and go to the wrong room. Yeah,
but yeah, so anyway, he gets into the room, and while he's in there, it's all dark, nobody's there. He gets a call from Jody, and this is where we get like because he's really excited to get the call because clearly he's not breaking her down, but like she's softening to him right, being around.
yeah.
So she calls him. She was like, "Is it cool that I called or whatever?" And like they start talking, and she starts asking about. I think she wants to bounce ideas off him for the movie for Act 3, and I think it's very. I assume it's very reminiscent of their relationship prior to the accident or whatever. Like they just kind of their love of film was really what like bonded them, you know.
Yeah.
And so like she's bouncing an idea about like the idea of a split screen in the film. And then as we see once again the meta-ness of it, as they're talking about split screen, the film does split screen.
Yeah.
And basically saying how like you do see like there's a I guess they're in close proximity, but still there's a line of separation between them. So it's like it's very much I guess I never thought about that with split screen, like what it really says about what's happening in the movie. I just always thought of it as, oh, they're just in different locations. But depending on how you shoot it, because it's like very much like as they're filming the scene, talking about split screen, they are mirroring one another's actions, right? So they're scratching each other's chin and like putting feet up on the table and different things like that. But she mentioned that it was like that split screen just puts distance between it, like in a like more than just a physical way, but like as far as maybe emotionally or something like that. And I never thought about that with split screen, but it was like interesting the way she interpreted it. But like I said, I think that's why I appreciated seeing the movie making process from the other side. Sorry, going. It looks like
No, I'm saying no, because like I guess it really. I mean, it depends on what the use is there for. Because you could, like, it's funny, like both of them were arguing, like, because Colt Ryan Gosling's character was like, well, no, because it means this, and she's like, no, it means that, and like because you can utilize that tool for both. Because having them be there, even with her saying the distance, but then seeing them like mimic each other's actions and mirror everything, that makes it seems shows that they're so much more similar than even they realize at the moment too.
Yeah.
What's going on with that? Yeah.
But yeah, so they had this conversation, and then when they hang up, it's just funny too. Is like as you see Ryan Gosling, Colt walking through the apartment, the unicorn is following him.
Yeah, the whole time. Well,
and so he's been looking through the apartment, and he goes into like a bathroom mirror, and he just sees a dead body on ice.
Yeah.
And he just freaks out, backs out of the room, but then as he's backing out of the room, he realizes there's a camera position right above his right shoulder. And so he kind of covers his face, calls Gail on his way down to his car, and he's just like, "Is it dead body, Gail?" Like, he's so dead.
It's so dead. It's so dead.
And he was like, "I want to call the cops. Like, fuck this." Because initially he said it was like he wanted to get the cops involved. But like she was very adamant about that not being the case. And so like as he's telling her he's gonna get the cops knock on his window because I think he parked in like a loading area behind the hotel. And so like because of that, he takes them upstairs to the hotel room, and it's empty. The dead body, all the ice is just gone. And so excuse me. What happens? The Kindle.
I think Gail says that she's going to handle everything, and he just keeps acting in the movie, right? Because he's like, I can just act for Tom then instead, or something, right?
Yeah. So what happens is when he goes back, because he wants to tell Gail about this, or Jody.
Yeah.
He wants to tell Jody about this the next day, so he goes to set. But after their conversation, she had this kind of epiphany. She was like, I don't need Tom at all. Like, I can just because of your skills, I could use you in the film. And so, like, where we get a one up. Yeah, we have a rekindling of their relationship because, like, he's helping her film the movie she wants to film. She's ignoring the studio. She's performing the, acting how she wants to do it. And then, as I think at the conclusion of that day, they mentioned that everybody's going out to karaoke, and she kind of invites him out, like as if on a date or something like that.
Yeah, because she warmed up to him at this point in time too.
Yeah. Say it again?
Like she warmed up to him too. Like this point, like she's kind of feeling it too, and she's like, "Oh, maybe we can do this again." You know what I mean? Like, because it was like terrible that he completely ghosted her, but at the same time, she kind of understood where he was coming from now. At this point. So it's like, hey, they can try something out. Yeah, make it happen.
Yeah. And so she invites him to karaoke, and then shortly after, Gail tells him, she presents like a plane ticket to go back home because of the fact that the whole finding the dead body thing or getting the cops involved is way above, like it's too much going on now, so like we need to get you out of here.
Yeah.
And like he's torn because of the fact that he's like, oh no, I kind of rekindled things with Jody. I want to see where this kind of goes.
And they should. The movie can keep getting made. Yeah.
Yeah. And so before he leaves, I think we don't know what way he decides, but he sees Tom's personal assistant, and he's like, I want to get information from her.
Yeah.
And so like he follows her to pick up Tom's dogs or whatever. And like he gets reunited with one of the dogs. I can't remember the dog's name. But because obviously he was very close with Tom for years, so he got very close with the dog. I think the dog only speaks French or something like that.
Yeah, French. Yeah, that's what it was.
And so as he's talking to Alma, they drop the dog off at the the dog park or whatever. And as he's talking to her, she's like, I don't know what happened, but Gail told me like based on what Gail said, if like Tom doesn't return to the movie, then they're gonna pull the plug on her. And Alma has Tom's phone, and like somebody was like asking about it. I think Gail or somebody was asking about it, so she was just like, I don't want this. I'll give it to you, but I need a producer credit on the film.
Yeah.
And then like you see that Hollywood, you scratch my back, I scratch his back type of thing.
That's the stunt guy. What do you really think from me at this point in time? But okay, I'll see what I can do.
And she's like, I don't have the passport, but that's the phone that everybody's looking for.
Yeah.
And so right as soon as she gives it to him, you see in the background like a garbage truck pulls up. A few guys get out of the truck, and they tase both Colt and Alma, and they kidnap Alma. Like so, they drive off in the truck. Colt gets up. He starts chasing after them once again diagonally.
What you got to do? It's the best way forward.
Yeah, he calls the dog. God damn it! I wish I knew his name. He calls the dog, and they get in his car and like give chase throughout the city. And while this is going on, we see that the rest of the cast, I guess maybe not the cast, but like the production team behind the movie are at karaoke. Everybody's singing. You see Jody there. She's a little bit nervous, having a few drinks, she keeps looking at the door, waiting on Colt. And Gail comes, and she basically says, like, 'cause she's surprised to see Gail there. She's like, you never come to these things. And then she mentions the fact that Colt left. Like, she gave him a ticket because of the fact that she thought that Jody didn't want Colt there. So she was like, I just told him to leave. Yeah. And he took the ticket and left.
Just manipulating and playing all sides.
And so as Jody hears this, it's her turn to perform that song. And I don't know what she's gonna sing, but she switches it to a little bit more depressing song about like being left or ghosted or something like that. And so while she's performing, we see Colt basically crash the car that the guy told him not to crash. And he's just having a fight on the back of this garbage truck, trying to save Alma. And so like you just see him keep summoning the dog to bite the bad guy's genitals. Or like
again.
So once again, these scenes, like this chase scene, the car flips, like every action scene, even the fights, like all the fights were like fucking every single one, even if it was like Jody fighting or Alma, was like all of them are like intense as hell.
Yeah.
It really leaned into this like all those action. And so just cool seeing like the drive through the city, the cars like flipping and stuff like that. Almost trying to like beat the guy who's driving, kick him out of the car. Like she's getting help from the dog. And so like eventually, after all this action or whatever, they're able to basically escape the kidnappers.
Yeah.
So like Cole runs back to the karaoke bar with the dog, but by the time he gets there and Jody's already left, like I think most of the crew is left.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just Dan there, and I think one of one of the tech operators from the film who had early in the movie, like when he first got to Australia, got to the set, they had done like a VFX thing, just digitizing his face, and like she was the lead of that. And so he shows her the phone, and she was like, "Oh, there's no way I can crack that. It would take like 3 days for me to crack it. You need the password."
Mm-hmm.
And so he's like, maybe the password is somewhere in Tom's house because of all the fucking post-it notes. And so he and Dan go back to Tom's apartment and are just looking through everything. And Dan, because of the fact that he went into the refrigerator to get a fancy bottle of fucking champagne, he's able to find the passcode to the phone. They unlock it, they sit and watch, and they're able to find a video on Tom's phone of Tom fighting with what's his name, Henry, the stuntman that replaced Colt. And because Alma had mentioned like that the last time she saw Tom, he and Henry were like, fighting at this party, or just roughhousing at this party. And so like that's why he was able to Colt was able to pick up this exact video. And so they looked at the video and they see that what's his name, as they were fighting, kicks Henry into like a table or something like that, and he hits his head and basically busts his head open. And,
yeah, they busts his head, breaks his neck or whatever. I think.
Yeah, either one. But basically, Tom kills Henry.
Yep.
In the video.
Not nice, for the record.
Jesus Christ, all the cussing is unnecessary.
Yeah.
Yeah, so like that's when I realized, okay, that's what the hell is going on here or whatever. And then Dan gets a call from, I can't remember the woman's name, the VFX lady. But she tells him to look at the news. And we see that the news has footage of saying that Henry's body was found in a hotel room on ice.
Mm-hmm.
And that the primary suspect is Colt. And they show the security footage of him leaving the
that's the case, then yeah, I guess like if they're saying that the body was found on ice and they're trying to frame Colt, then him kicking in the door makes sense.
I'm curious. I don't know if it's that important. Is it right? I think they need a footage of him going in and out.
Mm-hmm.
But it was like I feel like the breaking into the room might add a little bit more to incriminating him.
Yeah, definitely.
So, like it was a small detail. It wasn't that serious. I was just curious what you thought.
Sure. Yeah.
And so now Colt's freaking out. He's what the fuck, like. And he's trying to call Jody. You see Jody's like she's watching footage back from the day, like I think they call it the dailies from that day's shoot. Yeah. And she's watching footage from Tom, and she mentions the fact that like he says some of the most outlandish shit on set because of the fact that he always forgets that he's mic'd.
Yeah.
And so they're kind of laughing at some of the shit that he's saying. Then Gail comes in and she basically shows Jody the news. And also tells him that basically like Colt is a primary suspect in Henry's murder. And like you see also that Colt's been texting her and then tries to call and like kind of the Gail fumbles the phone into her drink or whatever.
Yeah, like puts it in like an ice bucket of her drink that like fucks it up. Yeah.
And so what happened? Oh, so then they mentioned that because Dan and Colt are still in Tom's apartment. And Dan mentions like if this was the fugitive, because this is what I love too, is just like, I realized this a while ago watching Tropic Thunder, surprisingly, how big, I think I'm a huge, movie fan, right? But it was like, you have to imagine how big of a fan you need to be to work in movies. Yeah. Like, whether it's actor, director, cameraman, stuntman, whatever it is. But it was just like, to actually be a part of it is like a whole other level of love for film and television. Yeah. Because you see them throughout the movie, like just quoting each other on quotes from famous movies or whatever. And it's just like very interesting to see because it's like I do that shit all the fucking time, like randomly. Like, but it's to see that reflected in like people who love movies. It's like, oh, that makes all of the sense. But anyway, so Dan mentions the fact that like if this were the fugitive, now that they found out that Cole is he's like wanted for a possible murder. If this was a fugitive, then the bad guys would be like kind of circling in on them right now. And we see that this the same team of mercenaries that were like pretending to be garbage men earlier to kidnap Alma at the apartment. They know the passcode and everything. And so like what's his name? Dan and the Colt prepare for their attackers. And so they both decide to run to this tomahawk because Tom has a bunch of props from his films. Like boxing gloves and like a prop gun and all those different things. And so like they kind of arm themselves with what they can. So Derek grabs a tomahawk. Colt grabs this I guess a Beretta that has, if you pull out the clip, it's literally, or the magazine, excuse me, it's literally says blanks only.
Yeah.
So you know that it's a gun firing blanks. And he kind of even, I thought it was cool. He set up the living room in a certain way, as if he could foresee what was going to happen in the fight with these guys. And so the mercenaries come in, they start attacking them, and it was like, you see, first of all, I forgot how huge Winston Duke is. Damn. I forgot that he fucking played in Baku. The guy who Henry was fighting the Black Panther. I forgot, because he was whooping ass in this movie. Like, just a bear of a man. But like, so he's taking on a few attackers, Colt is taking on other ones. And then like we got this interesting move where like he basically he pushes a guy off the balcony, and like Colt falls onto the couch, but he moved it there earlier, prior or whatever, and the other guy just falls on the floor and like knocks himself out.
Yeah.
And so like they're hiding, but I think there's like one guy left, and it's like kind of the main, I think the head of Tom's security or whatever. And they're hiding behind like this staircase and so behind this wall. He was like, Colt is basically saying with the phone, he's like, this is the only evidence we have that Tom killed Henry, right? So just as he says that, the main henchman shoots through the wall and just shoots the fucking phone. So like now like fuck. Yeah. And so like he tells Dan to get out of there, take the dog or whatever. They kind of split up. Colt goes to like, actually no, what he does is they are able to trick the main henchman like with a gun or whatever, so they're able to disarm him. He tells Dan to leave, and then like as the guy's on his knees with Colt pointing the gun with the blanks in it, he does like basically like a self-defense move, takes the gun away from him and then starts shooting. He shoots Colt first, and then like Colt falls, but once again it's just a blank. So the henchman goes to calls his boss or whatever to tell them that that's a wrap on Colt or whatever, that Colt's dead. And then Colt gets up, he runs upstairs, the guy tries to shoot at him, but it's all blanks. And then like he goes to jump off Tom's balcony onto his yacht that's parked right outside on the marina or whatever. He's nervous to jump, and he's like, this is crazy. And then the guy starts shooting at him, so he jumps on the yacht, he falls like through the glass. And when he looks up, he sees just Tom just sitting there chilling with Iggy, his girlfriend, a few other guys. And then he gets knocked out. And then when he wakes up, he's tied to a chair. And he's basically just being interrogated by the main henchman. They're saying, like, where's the fucking phone? And then we find out that basically this is all Gail's doing. When Tom killed Henry, he called Gail saying, like, this is my career's over. She was like, I'll handle it. So she called Colt, because they needed, like you said, a fall guy. And so she called Colt so that he could get his face scanned using the CGI technology or whatever. And they were going to deep fake and put Colt's face onto Tom's face in a video, and then just basically incriminate him. It was supposed to be easy. Like, he was supposed to get drugged at the quarrel with Doom. And then they do all that deep fake stuff, kill him, like basically have him do like a murder-suicide type of thing. And then like this is all wrapped up. Like Colt was just ever the fighter. So they kept having to change the plan. So like, what's the name? Tom. Once again, I love Ryan Reynolds so much. So as Tom is giving this villain speech, he goes, "You need carbs." That's why it's so stupid. Your brain needs carbohydrates. And so basically Tom also he mentions the fact that like he had to do that to Henry because Henry kind of called him out for not doing his own stunts. Yeah. And you heard that in the video. He goes, I don't do my own stunts. And then he was like, he just kept pushing me. So I had to put him in his place. It was like, and then he mentions that he did the same thing to Colt. And then he kind of admits to the fact that the accident that happened in the beginning of the movie wasn't necessarily accident. Tom had messed with the controls of the machine, whatever machine that was holding him, and that's why he fell.
Yeah, and Tom was just like the whole time. He's just like, all you had to do. We were best friends. You were my brother, but I'm just like, what the hell are you talking about? Yeah, definitely, crazy, very narcissistic, egotistical actor guy in this for sure. Yeah.
And so now that then Colt admits the fact that the henchman destroyed the phone. And Tom says, well, you were right. That was the only reason that you were still alive, is because we didn't know what the phone was.
Mm-hmm.
And so they're gonna douse him in gasoline and set him on fire. Anyway, he's just like, how does this make sense? What kind of suicide is this?
Right? Or just they just needed to give a body or something like that. But why not just? Well, I guess because they can't shoot him because then there'd be a bullet hole. Yeah. But still, yeesh.
What a way to go, I guess.
Yeah, I know, right? Fuck it. What are you gonna do?
And so like they start dousing him in alcohol, and he's like screaming for help and all that. And then like so Tom walks away. And then the henchman like lights a lights not a match, but like he has a
lighter.
Lighter thing. Jesus Christ!
Yeah,
that light.
He lights something. What does he light? What are you gonna do?
It's late, sadly. But yeah, so he lights a lighter and like is about to throw it onto Colt. But Colt, while he was screaming, basically ingested a bit of the gasoline and just spits it back at him, and like uses that as a distraction to jump on a boat and kind of get out of there.
Yeah,
and so like we get this
in the beginning of this. He mentioned he could like break a record for driving a boat with his feet. And so now he's actually doing it because he's still tied up and he's driving this boat with his feet.
Yeah. That's all it's funny. So like at first he drives the boat away and realizes it's a dead end, so he has to do like basically a boat jump over the dock. And as he does it, I swear to God, I feel like because of, like you said, he had mentioned that earlier with Iggy at the fact that he could do this because he worked on like Miami Vice, I think that was the show. And he was saying how after he does this jump over the dock, I swear he looked up you done it, like both the fourth water. You guys get I'll call back to what he had said earlier. Yeah, so like he's able to escape the henchman for a bit, and so he calls Jody because her phone is finally like dried off after Gail had thrown it into her cup of soda, and he's just like saying like basically apologizing and saying like the reason that he didn't like reach out to her after the accident is because of the fact that stuntmen constantly give you that thumbs up as if everything's okay, even though he says that every stunt hurts, whether you're falling through glass or taking a punch or doing a car roll. All of that hurts when you just pretend like it's okay. But when he fell and he realized he wasn't truly invincible, like it wasn't something that you just give a thumbs up to and like just walk away from it. It really fucked with him psychologically. So he was just like, if he couldn't be strong, then he didn't know who he was, type of thing. So that's why he walked away.
Yeah.
And so he's like they're chasing him or whatever. She hears like the gunshots in the background, and like so he sees this like tanker in the middle of the I guess the marina, and he just drives towards it, and just then the boat explodes. And so they see his coat, his Miami Vice jacket in the water, assume that he's dead, and so like
he would never leave his Miami Vice jacket behind. So that was how they know. Yeah.
And so like the henchman once again calls and tells Gail that Colt's dead. The news is there saying like the stuntman Colt Seavers has who was accused of killing another stuntman and has apparently died in a huge explosion. And so, like, the next day, we see Tom actually finally arrive to set to finish the movie. And his henchman, his head of security is looking for Dan. For what reason, I don't know. Like,
they're looking for Dan because, I think they saw Dan was there and, like, they saw Dan in the thing when they were fighting everyone off. So they're trying to get Dan to make sure he also will, take quiet or kill him. Yeah.
And so, Jody is in her trailer, like looking at news footage about Colt, and we see some person dressed as an alien in an alien costume sneak behind her and attack. And she just like once again she took self-defense classes, so she whooped his and she stabbed him with a pen. Once again, I know it's funny and stuff like that, but there were certain moments in this movie where I'm just like, how is this what you were thinking to do? Like, that was right? So there's the moment, like, he escapes the henchman on the boat. All you had to do was, like, swim to, like, the shore or some shit like that. You didn't have to keep driving on the fucking boat. What do you do?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, a lot of different options could happen for sure.
And then two, you sneak. First of all, don't sneak behind anyone. I don't give a fuck who it
Yeah.
is. You in his class, and I will think about it tomorrow.
Yeah.
It was like you sneak behind her, and then like he keeps like waving his hands and stuff like that. It was like, why did you take the mask off when you got into the trailer?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah,
And granted, it's a really intense fight scene. Like,
yeah, and funny.
like, fucking Emily Blunt was like doing
Yeah.
amazing stuff work, but it was just like, how think about it, dumb.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, it was funny and it was like a good way.
Yeah.
And like
I said, like what I'm saying, it's one of those things where like it's a nitpick, and I'm still cool with it.
yeah, for sure.
But as somebody like critiques film, just you know, whenever I watch it, it was like something I'm just like, well, this doesn't make sense, but I'm wondering cool with it.
Mhm.
And it's like he basically tells her what he found out from Tom that Gail set him up, and that he's like, we need to basically any evidence that says that Tom actually killed Henry is gone. So they devise a plan to basically trick Tom into confessing. And because of the fact that, once again, when he's mic'd up, he forgets that he's mic'd up and just says whatever he feels like.
Yeah.
And so they set up a stunt where like he's just supposed to do this canyon jump or whatever, like this 250-foot jump. But the VFX lady is just going to do it in CGI, so he doesn't really have to do it. So like he still has to get in the car for like just the face shot. But he doesn't have to actually do the drive. But when he gets in the car, he does his lines or whatever, and then shortly after, Colt gets in the car, and like what's his name? Tom's hands are like cuffed because he's just escaped the aliens. Like they use some excuse for the film.
Yeah.
But like so once Colt gets in the car, he like straps him in so Tom can't get out, and then he just starts driving, and he's using this moment of like fear and intimidation to get Tom to admit that Gail, he killed Henry, and Gail devised this plan to incriminate Colt. And so like they get this confession. It's a cool scene when he's just talking around. At the same time, the head of security, Tom's head of security, was looking for Dan. They realize that something's wrong, so they start chasing him, and you get once again it's clearly an ode to stuntmen.
Yes.
But it was like you get the whole stunt team just fighting,
doing funny stunts,
partying Tom's security, which is it's just real cool. And once again, Winston Duke is a goddamn bear. It's terrifying. I can see I was fine watching him beat up T'Challa because T'Challa had the roots. Okay, it's like negligent human beings.
He's only 6'5". It's not that big. I don't understand it.
And so after they get the confession, they actually do the what's his name does the jump, the 250-foot jump for the final act of the movie. And then while they're doing the jump, Gail, realizing that Tom has admitted to the murder, she goes to the trailer and steals the confession, the recording, and then like they're trying to one of the guys tries to I guess capture Jody, but we see that she can fight and she don't play no fucking game.
Yeah,
so she just knocks that guy out. She fights again for a bit, but Gail's able to escape on the helicopter. Tom's also able to escape on the helicopter. So what's his name? Colt meets up with Jody, and she uses like this stunt truck or like with the crane to swing him onto the helicopter, so that he can get the recording before they escape. And so there's a really cool scene in the helicopter where like he hangs on the side, gets the briefcase at first. Fucking Gail is trying to shoot him, but he kind of puts Tom in front of him, so that she doesn't shoot him. And then like he's able to like he gets kicked out of the helicopter, but was able to hang on, flips to the other side, grabs the recording, and right as Gail is about to shoot him, he goes, "There's no more bullets in the gun, Gail." And then he just kind of, and even it was interesting. Still, I don't know if it was a redemption thing, but like Tom goes, "You can't shoot him. He's the best stunt guy I've ever had." And I was like, "This is after that whole speech last night. Like it was really weird to have him take this stand." But I guess it's a movie.
Yeah, exactly. And
so, like, as he's dangling in the air, he gets the recording, gives him the middle finger, and just kind of jumps. And we see while he was tussling with them in the helicopter, that the rest of the team, the stunt team, was inflating this fucking fall bag or whatever, so that Colt could fall off. Now, what's interesting is the guy that did this stunt, that did this fall, that was his dad's tent, or like the bag or whatever.
Oh, interesting.
His dad was a former stuntman, and actually his dad worked on his movie.
Okay.
And so he had to do that stunt
Yeah.
in front of his dad, on his dad. Like, they had to literally go out and find this bag for him to do it.
Yeah.
But it was like a little bit of trivia with that. So yeah, Colt falls into the bag with the evidence. And then basically give that to the cops to clear his name. Metalstorm premieres. It's a hit, and we see that Tom has been recast as Jason Momoa, because I assume he's going to jail.
Yeah.
And so another interesting thing, this guy David Leitch, he did a Bullet Train last year, and so like most of his movies, he has a really good relationship with Ryan Reynolds. I think after Deadpool 2.
Okay.
And so like Ryan Reynolds has cameoed in both Hobbs and Shaw and Bullet Train. And so like I think a lot of people are thinking that Ryan Reynolds was going to be the replacement for Tom.
Okay.
Because also, I mean, if you look at he also looks like those two.
Right.
So it would have
It could kind of
been,
look
a cool cameo, but instead it was Jason Momoa. We see that the movies are really, or whatever. What's his name? Gail and Tom go to jail, and Jodie and Colt get back together.
Yeah. And that's the end. And that was The Fall Guy. Thank you so much for listening, everybody. We always like to go back to our original rankings that we gave it. Mike, you gave this a 3 out of 5. Are you sticking with it? Changing it? What do you think?
I am. Like I said, I just had a lot of fun with this movie.
Yeah.
Like my gripes were just the fact that it was like a lot of action movies lean into style over substance, but I wasn't mad at the style. But it could have possibly used a little bit more substance. But it was a lot of fun, great chemistry between the leads, and like I said, it was just very interesting to see a peek behind the curtain. So yeah, a lot of fun. I'd definitely say see it. You can see it in theaters, and you can see it in streaming. Like it's really like a really fun watch.
Nice. Cool. Yeah, absolutely. I gave it a 3 out of 5. I'm sticking with a 3 out of 5 as well. I think there's a lot of good stuff with the movie, but it's just it's a pretty good movie, and that's really all I can say about it. So with that though, that means it's a 3 out of 5, and I recommend people see it as well. But thank you so much for listening, everybody. Again, we are the Two Meddling Kids. You can reach out to us at Two Meddling Kids on Twitter and Instagram and TikTok, or you can email us at twomedlingkids@gmail.com. Mike, how can I reach out to you?
On Instagram at Days from Legendary.
But if you'd like to reach out to me, I am at HeadHunt77 on Twitter and Instagram, and Hunt.comics on Instagram and TikTok as well, and EdwardHuntWriting.com. But we'll be back next week with a brand new movie. Catch everybody.
All right.
Yeah.